Hi guys, my name is Jessica and I'm so excited to teach today's kids church lesson. Today's topic is trust, and I was thinking about the best way I could try to describe it to you guys. First, think about somebody you trust. You got it? Okay, let me think of somebody I trust. Okay, the person I trust is my mom. I can tell her about anything that happened at school or at church. I can go to her about my feelings and she'll love me no matter what. When you think about your person, what is one thing you trust them with most? Maybe they always want the best for you, or no matter what you say to them or what you do, they love you always and always care about you. You know you're not supposed to trust everyone, right? I mean, you can't going around trusting complete strangers, would you? That'd be crazy. But there is someone we can always trust. In John chapter 10, verse 27, Jesus says, if we are his friends, we will recognize his voice and go where he tells us to. Basically, we can trust him. Jesus does not want us trusting anyone. He's made it pretty clear that we can trust him. So in today's lesson is about trusting Jesus. You remember last week's lesson by Miss Sedania? She talked about Jesus' miracle and how he fed over 5,000 people. Remember, this was quite a miracle, and the disciples were first-hand witnesses. Can you imagine having to hand out all that bread and fish and having to go back and get all the leftovers? Have you ever had something really great happen to you and you just know it was God? It can be pretty incredible. I remember one time when I was younger and I was in missionettes, I was in girls ministries and I was a star. And I finished all the units I had to do and all the verses I had to memorize, and I could become an honor star. And I was so excited because we went on the retreat, and the day of the crowning is the day I got a really bad headache. And I was really hoping that I would feel better by the time of the crowning so I could be able to do it, because I didn't want to miss the opportunity after all of the years that I took of hard work. Then God came through and he took the headache away, and I was strong enough to walk with my parents and go get my crown and my sash, and I felt so accomplished. It was so amazing that God actually did that for me, knowing how hard I worked for this and I didn't want to miss it. And he took my headache away and all my pain and all my suffering. And he did that because he loved me, and he loves you guys too. Well, I think the disciples were really excited about what just happened, and they didn't know what to do next. So Jesus had to tell them to get in the boat and row to the other side. So the way I pictured this is, the disciples were just talking about the day and the storm that was about to come up. But because they were seasoned fishermen, and that basically means they had a lot of experience, they probably didn't think too much of the storm. But then they realized this was mad serious. They had to get their stuff together real quick. So they focused on the storm, and then Jesus appears. In Matthew, verse 26, they cry out in fear, and Jesus immediately reassures them. Have you ever been afraid? I remember this one time when I was younger, and I was going to King's Dominion with one of my church groups. I was having a lot of fun until there was this one roller coaster that I was really scared to go on, and all my friends were going on, and I thought it would be cool if I went on it too. And I really didn't want to go on the roller coaster, but somehow I ended up on there anyway. But I was really scared and sat in the roller coaster seats, and one of the church leaders that was with us that day sat next to me and held my hand the whole way and told me it was going to be okay and I shouldn't be scared. And she was someone I could trust because she was there the whole time for me, and she pretty much came to my rescue. And after that, the ride was really fun. Jesus tells the disciples it's okay. And Peter, in verse 28, we read, "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." Remember just a few minutes ago when they thought Jesus was a ghost? But they heard his voice, and Peter recognizes him. So Peter gets out of the boat. Gets out of it. Can you believe that? In verse 29, it says, Peter got off the boat and walked on water. Hold on. He walked on what? Yeah, water. He walked on water. Not to the edge of the boat. Outside of it. And walks towards Jesus. That's crazy. But what happens next? In verse 30 of Matthew 14, it says, "But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, 'Lord, save me.'" What does this verse tell us? At first, we can tell that Peter was looking at Jesus and he had his eyes on him. But then he saw the waves and started looking around and saw the darkness around him. And he took his eyes off Jesus and then he started to sink. He was trusting Jesus and then he stopped. His situation started to look pretty intimidating. I mean, all those waves, wind, water, and darkness, I'd be pretty scared too. The point is, Peter started out trusting Jesus. He started out looking at Jesus, focusing on Jesus, and he even moved towards Jesus. But Peter also took his eyes off of Jesus, and this is what we do sometimes. We keep our eyes on God and we focus on Him and we do things for Him, and things are going right until one day we take our eyes off of Him and things start going downhill. Here's the really cool part. No matter how many times we mess up, slip up, or do anything bad, Jesus is right behind us and in front of us, and is always there to pick us back up because we can trust Him with anything. After all, He is trustworthy, reliable, faithful, and a billion times more powerful than us. So, what couldn't He do? You remember what happened after Jesus grabs Peter and takes them both back into the boat? In verses 32 and 33, it says, "And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped Him, saying, 'Truly you are the Son of God.'" All the disciples on the boat realized that Jesus was truly the Son of God. And Jesus is powerful and always has been and always will be powerful enough to face and take away any problems you have. Any problems you have. Any problems you have. Remember to trust Jesus. Another word for trust is faith. And our faith needs to be way bigger than us. I asked Mr. David to show us an illustration of this. Mr. David?
So before I start my experiment, I just want to identify what I'm working with. So I just have 3 simple things: a clear bowl of water, just regular room temperature water, dishwasher soap, like just the kind you use for cleaning dishes, and then a bunch of paper clips. And if you want to try this experiment at home, what I did was to take one of these paper clips and then bend it into a shape like this. So originally, it's a very simple bend. Originally the paperclip looked like so, but then I just bent this part so that I made this kind of like 3D S shape. So that's cool. To start off this experiment, I want to take one of these paper clips and then show you what happens when I try to place it into the water, and then you can see it's of course sink to the ground. So let me try that again, but placing the paper clip slowly into the water, and I think it almost tried to float, but again it just fell to the ground. So now, of course, that's what you would expect the paperclip to happen. Whether what you tried, it would sink to the bottom of the bucket or whatever. Let's see what happens when I take this bent paperclip and then put another paperclip onto it, like so, and then raise it slowly. Okay. I'll take one paperclip, put it on the bent paperclip, raise it slowly into the water. Oh my gosh, I didn't think. Usually you have to do it slowly, but that one like zoomed on. Yeah, but you have to take lots of care if you want to make this paperclip float on the water. So let me try that again, actually. Place it gently into the water, and then you can see it floats, right? And let me try that one more time just for good measure. The reason this happens is that the surface of the water isn't broken when you place the paperclip gently. Usually when you drop a paperclip in, the surface tension of the water, which if you don't know what that is yet, I'm sure you'll learn very, very soon. The surface tension of the water breaks, and then the paperclip floats to the ground. But when this happened, the surface tension, but when you place it slowly into the water, the serpent's tension does not break. It's kind of like how, if you ever seen water spiders or any bug, or seen it in the movies, it's how they like skirt on the water through not breaking the surface tension because they're so light. So let me show you one more time. This slow paperclip slowly goes into the water, and then the paperclip floats. Oh, I promise you it's harder than it looks. But see what happens when we put the detergent into the water, then with the paperclip still floating. Let's see. Oh, you can see they don't like it, and then two immediately fall, and then that one falls right after. So you can see the detergent actually prevented the paperclips from staying up. So I think that's pretty cool. The point of this experiment is to show that, like in the story, Peter couldn't walk on the water by himself. If he tried, I assume. If he tried when Jesus wasn't there, he would just sink to the ground like these paperclips do. But when he had Jesus to rest on, he could find a way to walk on the water. But then, as like the detergent is supposed to show, eventually that doubt led him to start sinking again. So that shows how important it is to always have faith in Jesus. Because if you don't and you start doubting, everything just goes wrong for sure. The point I want to show is, even if you fall into the deepest, darkest pit of despair, or even like less than an inch of water, Jesus will always be there to pick you back up, and put you rightfully where you belong. Even with this doubt or this dish show, we always need to guard ourselves between things that can cause us to doubt our faith in Jesus. Did you notice in the story that it only mentions that the disciples were amazed after Jesus cleared the winds and the waves? It's weird to think about it, but he did just feed 5,000 people. So I think the reason why it shows that they were amazed when he did that, because it was nice, up close and personal. And that, I think that helped them to grow their faith, seeing those signs. Now, I'm sure we probably won't be able to see Jesus walking on water in our lifetimes, but you all to always try and be amazed by the things around us and just appreciate all the wonderful things God has done for us. Even something simple and small like these paper clips floating on the water. I think it just shows how good, how wonderful the world God has made for us is. So that's what I want to leave off with, and I pray that you always not doubt and to always grow in your faith. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I want to try Mr. David's illustration. It looks really fun. Just remember to do it with your mom or dad. Remember, we can trust and we can have faith in Jesus. He is way bigger than the winds and waves in our lives. Thank you for letting me share today's lesson, and before I go, can I pray for you? Bow your heads. Close your eyes. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and please help us to trust you, Lord, and keep our eyes on you and do things for you, Lord. Because you love us so much, and you are more powerful than the winds and waves that happen in our lives, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Now Miss Carol is going to show you guys a craft you can do at home. Bye!
Hi boys and girls, this is Miss Carol with my daughter
Sophia.
and today we have a fun craft. We are going to make a boat that we have it right here, and for that boat we are going to use most of the things that we need are in your recycling bin. So we're gonna use a egg carton like this one. We're also gonna need some magazines. If you have some, we need paper, so you can use magazines, and skewers if you have. If you don't have skewers or straws, you can use sticks. Go outside and pick some sticks. So now that I have over there, I'm going to put these away. We're also going to need paint, different colors, the colors that you like. So we have a tray over here with paint brushes, and some water to clean. Also, you may need a hole punch and scissors. So first step, and I'm going to give it to Sophia. The first step is to cut the egg carton. So you're going to cut these two pieces. You're going to cut it in the middle. Right here. So this part is this that we paint like the ocean. So it's blue. We use blue color for that, the ocean. And with this part, we are going to make the boat. So take this strip right here. So that's for Sophia. And Sophia, you can start painting. You have different colors over there that you can start using. So we put the scissors on the side. And I have this one that is already painted and dry. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make a big boat like this one that we have over here. I'm just going to make a little one. So with my scissors, I'm going to cut this one in half right here. So I have two little boats like this. For the sails, I'm going to use the old magazines that we have, and we look for nice pictures. So we have this one over here that I'm going to use. I have some other ones right here. And you're going to cut a rectangle shape. So cut a rectangle shape with the magazine paper, and then you're going to use a hole punch and make a hole right there. This one is going to be a little too, make a small rectangle, something like this. Two holes, one is going to be at the top and the other hole on the bottom. Get your stick or your skewer, and then you are going to throw it over here. So this is the back, and then this the other hole right there. Okay, and your boat. So in this part, you can poke a hole. You can use your scissors. For this part, you may need a grown-up to help you. So you poke a hole over there, then you can put the screw, this skewer right there, and we're gonna need another one. So I'm gonna cut. A small rectangle, poke a hole on the bottom and another one on the top. Do the same thing. I'm going to on the back because I want this part to show. And then I'm going to put it right there. Here. So here you have it. I have a small boat over here, and we use most of the materials that we use are from our recycling bin. Okay, friends, so now your challenge is, how can you make this boat waterproof? What can you put, or what materials you can use to put around this boat to make it waterproof? Keep thinking. Bye. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Sophia, say bye. Bye, friends.
Stories of the Bible. Peter walks on water. This is Peter.
Hey-o! Whoop.
Peter was a fisherman who was called by Jesus.
Hey!
Peter saw the many miracles of Jesus.
Whoa!
And he heard all his teachings. Great crowds followed Jesus wherever he went. One day after Jesus had done a great miracle, he sent the disciples in a boat across the lake while he stayed and sent the people home.
See ya! Hey, Jesus!
After sending them home, Jesus went up into the hills by himself to pray. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves.
Ah!
About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified.
Ah!
In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!"
Hold on there.
But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." So Jesus said, "Yes, come." So Peter went over the side of the boat
Whoa! You're awesome!
and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves,
Ah! Whoa!
he was terrified and began to sink.
Baby, help me!
"Save me, Lord!" he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. Jesus said, "You have so little faith. Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshiped him and said, "You really are the Son of God."